That's right, everybody. Welcome back to Mind Blow Monday. Welcome to the Halloween special, one of the Halloween specials. And today, we're going to be talking about the spookiest topic of all time. YouTube controversies! That's right. Yeah, just a little bit. I'm not gonna focus too much on the controversies, not gonna focus too much on the drama, just stuff that has something to do with me. Just some stuff I wanted to talk about. It's Mind Blow Monday, I got some stuff on my mind and I want to talk about it. Alright. So, as you can see, clearly still Halloween theme. Alright. So, the controversy we're going to talk about, or there's two we're going to talk about, but the first one we're going to talk about here is, well, it's been building for a bit. Yeah, I knew I was going to cover this at one point. I talked about my passion for pro wrestling before and whatnot, and recently, some people from YouTube decided to become wrestlers. And yes, it's the Paul brothers. No, I am not making this up. This is a real thing. So yeah, if you guys haven't known, Logan Paul is like officially signed up with WWE. He's officially a part of it and whatnot, and he's a full-blown star for them. Wow. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy to think about, like, wow, this guy, what is he doing in wrestling? What is he doing here? What is going on? But hear me out. I don't think it's all that bad. I think it's actually kind of an interesting idea, because when it comes to pro wrestling, let's be honest here, you know, everyone goes out there and they put on some kind of act and whatnot, and, you know, it's very simple in the sense of, you know, they're the good guys and they're the bad guys. You know, the bad guys are assholes and they cheat and they insult the fans and all that. They're mean, and they're like, oh, what am I in Houston? What is this, Dumpsterville? Oh, boo. You know, yeah, they do the typical bad guy stuff, and then you got the good guys who do the exact opposite and are like, no, Houston's the best town ever, yeah. And they're like, I don't cheat because I'm a good guy who has balls. I don't sink to that level. Yeah. So, in theory, if the Paul brothers were wrestlers and they were bad guys, this would actually be brilliant, in my mind. They could be some of the best bad guys of all time, when you think about it. It could be genius. The problem is, Logan Paul doesn't want to be a bad guy. He started as a bad guy, and it was pretty cool when he was a bad guy, but they quickly tried to change him into a good guy because he wants to be a good guy. Logan Paul, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm saying this like he's ever gonna see this video. Bro, Logan Paul is not the good guy. He's never gonna be the good guy. Okay? He did some controversial stuff, man. He did some crazy stuff. He scammed a bunch of people. He's such a cocky jerk and whatnot. He filmed a dead body. He's just a bad dude. No matter how much you try and play damage control with all this situations and whatnot, it's not gonna work, man. You're just a bad guy, and people are always gonna see you as just a bad guy. So honestly, just embrace it and be a bad guy. It would honestly work really well if he just was a bad guy, if he went out, ran his mouth, was an asshole and whatnot, and then some good guy wrestler can come in and beat him up and everyone can cheer. That would be great. It would be great. At this point, you know, at this point in your career when you're so controversial and you can be nothing but a villain, how about just be a villain and let some guy beat you up and then everybody's happy again. You played a role in that scenario of making people happy by being the bad guy and letting somebody beat you up. It worked. It's honestly not a bad idea. But, yeah, no, he wants to be a good guy. So, you know, he started by being a bad guy, but then his bad guy partner, The Miz, turned against him, and thus he became a good guy because, hey, I was a bad guy, but then a badder guy attacked me, and now I'm a good guy. And, yeah, don't know about that. It's not really working. Or at least I didn't think it was. So, most recently, there was a pay-per-view, Crown Jewel, and Logan Paul took on Roman Reigns, the champion, at the main event of the pay-per-view. Pretty ridiculous that he got this. It was literally his third match in the company, and he was already facing the top guy. Spoiler alert for it if you haven't seen it. Don't worry, the champion won. The champion beat him. It's all good. It's all good. But still, it's pretty crazy that he got that big. I think it's ridiculous to have him as anything but a bad guy, but watching Crown Jewel, watching the fans and whatnot, I saw that there were a lot of kids in the crowd cheering for him. There were a lot of kids that liked him, and thus I was like, alright. Maybe we can make him a good guy. The kids are loving it. The kids are cheering for him. Maybe he's not so bad as a good guy. And, so yeah, he's with the company, he's been doing some stuff, and there's talks of maybe his brother would at some point come in. Jake would maybe at some point come in. And it finally happened at Crown Jewel. Jake Paul came in, and I kid you not, I'm not making this up. He came out, and he had a theme. Take a wild guess what his theme was. It's everyday, bro. I kid you not. This actually happened. He came out to It's Everyday, bro as his theme. Man, what world are we living in? But the kids went crazy. The kids loved it. And they kind of hinted that Jake might be around. He might be here to stay. And he might even be having a feud with one of Roman's buddies, Solo Sikoa. So maybe something's actually going to happen there, and this is just going to continue onwards. This is pretty crazy. This is pretty crazy to think about. These guys came in, and they're like, taking over wrestling. What is happening? What's going on? Anyways, yeah, so there and there, the kids are going crazy for it, so I'm like, whatever, man. It was pretty fun. I'll give you this, I was nervous about the match, what Logan Paul was gonna do and whatnot, and I'll admit, it was a pretty good match. He actually kicked a lot of ass. He was pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like the guy, he's annoying and all that, and I really want him to just be a villain, but I'll give it to him. He showed talent. He put up a good performance on there, and I gotta give credit where credit is due. And as crazy as it was, I'm not gonna lie, I kinda lost my mind when Jake Paul came out to It's Everyday, bro. I'm like, I can't believe that actually happened. That actually blew my mind that would actually happen. What a world we live in. So yeah, YouTubers in wrestling now, that's just a thing. I have mixed feelings on it, but you know what? I do think that this could be kind of a positive thing. I'm telling you, I think it would be much better if you just made them the villains. I think they could be some of the best villains of all time. I mean, even just the build-up to this match, Logan Paul, he was supposed to be the good guy, but pretty much every time he picked up a mic and started talking, he just accidentally was a cocky jerk. He wasn't even trying to. He would just pick it up and be like, guys, I did a baddie thing again. Oh, silly me. I'm like, what a jerk. What a jerk. Screw this guy. But hey, it's pretty fun. It's fun. I'm enjoying it, so cool. And I'm happy that Roman won, so that's cool too. Alright. So, controversial figures doing things. Ooh, spooky. Next spooky controversy we're going to talk about. This was something I wanted to talk about a little bit. I was originally going to do a whole video on this, but I thought, let's not spend a whole video talking about this person. I don't think they really deserve a whole video, or the whole idea of just talking trash about one person for a whole video after I just talked about supporting each other and all that stuff. And in the past, me talking trash about people hasn't really worked too well. Look, I'm gonna stand up for what I believe in, but hey, you know, maybe we should focus more on talking about positive things than negative things. So yeah, not gonna do a whole video on this guy, but I am gonna cover it just a little bit. For the Halloween spirit, I watched some horror movies, and one of the horror movies I watched, a big favorite of mine, the 2017 It movie, the part one, you know, the one with the kids, yeah. I also watched the part two, but the part two is not as good as part one, yeah. So yeah, big fan of part one, and I watched it. It was still great. I'm a big fan of it. And this reminded me of certain controversial YouTuber that reviewed this movie back when it came out, and I watched their review. And the said controversial YouTuber I'm talking about is the nostalgia critic Doug Walker, channel awesome. Yeah. There was a video they made about the movie, and I watched that review before I watched the movie, and I thought it was smart and cool and whatnot. I used to be a fan of theirs back in the day when I was a cringy teen idiot. Yeah. It's one of those things, if you only watch their channel, you're gonna think that it's good content. You're gonna think like, oh yeah, this is really smart, this is some cool stuff, this is the smart stuff that the other people don't talk about, this is big brain stuff. But then you actually go on and watch other channels and you realize, this isn't all that smart, this is actually very surface level stuff, and it's not even like funny or good. You just think it is because it's the only thing you watch, but once you open up to other things, you're like, this isn't all that great. Yeah. So yeah, not going to talk too much about the controversy. I just want to talk about this review that they did on the It movie. And let me just say, no. You messed it up. You messed it up with this review. So the biggest problem with said review, and problem with this channel as a whole, Doug Walker is a very cocky guy. He plays the character nostalgia critic, but it's not really a character. He says it's a character, but when you pay attention, when you actually watch his stuff and you really pay attention to what he thinks, and if you've ever seen, like, outside stuff where he's not playing the character and he's just talking about stuff, you can tell he says it's a character, but it's not really a character. It's just Doug Walker. It's just him being fully let loose. It's just him being not blocked by other people saying, dude, stop being so annoying. It's just him being as annoying as he wants to be. It's him fully unleashing himself. And that's the biggest flaw with this review and the channel as a whole, is he's very cocky in a lot of the things he says. He tries to be almost like CinemaSins, where he picks at things a lot, and he messes up. He makes constant mistakes, which CinemaSins also does this. Makes constant mistakes because they're so up in their own mind, up their own ass, in their own, getting off on their own, like, intelligence, that they think, oh, I'm so smart to pick out this detail of the film and prove why it doesn't work because I'm such a smarty pants and all that stuff. But it doesn't. They're just in their own head. The thing they point out to be like, see, this makes no sense. It actually does make sense. You're just making shit up to try and pretend that it doesn't make sense, to prove that you're smarter than everybody else. Everybody else is praising this movie, but I'm the one smart guy that actually knows it's dumb. No, that's not true. You're making all that up. So, I'm a big fan of the movie. I didn't like how he misportrayed certain things and was being cocky and up his own ass about stuff. So, as an example, he at the beginning says that Pennywise in this version is too scary.
Hey, wait, where you going? Hey, wait, where's he going? No kid would be drawn to someone that scary looking. Yeah, but they were drawn to him and he's not even scary. Exactly, you dumbass.
He's too scary. Georgie wouldn't talk to him in the sewer drain. He would just run away. He's too scary. But then later on in the review, he also says that he's too goofy as a clown. He's a clown. He's always going to be a little silly and goofy.
I'll admit it gets a little silly when you have to show it's still Pennywise. Wait a minute, what do you mean silly? There's nothing silly about me. I'm the most frightening thing in cinema. You want to tell him or should I? I think we should both tell him. What? Tell me what? You're a clown! No matter what you do, you're gonna be a little silly.
And he should embrace that a little bit. And he should, or not that he should embrace that, but that he should be aware of that, because sometimes when he's trying to be scary, I can't speak, when he's trying to be scary, it comes off as silly, and I'm like, what? How does that work? He's both too scary and too silly at the same time? Which is it? But that's the kind of thing he does, where he will contradict himself if it just means, like, pointing out another flaw in the film. Or, well, not really pointing out another flaw, but by making up some other fake flaw of the film to prove just how much of a smarty pants he is. And it just doesn't work. I think that Pennywise was done fine in the movie. He was perfect in the movie. I don't think there was a flaw here. I think you're just making stuff up. That's my thoughts on that. That's all the controversies we're covering here. And the last thing I want to talk about, this is just part 1 of the Halloween specials. Part 2, we're going ghost hunting. Is this a ghost? My phone's a ghost, apparently. Oh, is the camera a ghost? No, it's not. Alright, next time we're going ghost hunting. Yeah. This is dumb. Make McChickens, not war.